What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Demastered, episode 95. I'm your host, Joe, and as always, I am joined by Charlie.
Hey.
And Tom.
So on certain days, you're a kid, and on some days,
you gotta wait until holiday 2017 to play video games.
This is summer 2017.
Summer 2017.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
jeez.
so-
Okay, I'm so
Because
sorry.
you bet your ass, you're a kid now, you're a squid now. It's coming back, and it's coming back with full force. You thought it was dead? It didn't die.
Yeah, with the
It
power of
only
that.
slept.
Switch.
HD Rumble.
Ugh.
I just gotta put them out throughout the whole episode. You're gonna miss one. You're gonna miss
I'm
one
not gonna-
eventually.
I haven't been writing down.
When
the
we
times.
get Joe, when we get actual switches, we can bring the switch and the control over, so we can just
plug
right
it.
into the microphone.
If you guys don't know, this is our weekly video game podcast where we talk about video games. I like to say we're three best friends. These two don't like to call us
that's just
ourselves
a
best
lie.
friends.
That's kind of funny's thing.
We can still. They do not own the term best friends.
You
Okay,
can't steal from other podcasts.
I'm not saying around this table and knocking on the table. I'm saying we're three best friends who hang out at Charlie's place.
Oh, no.
Oh, guys, it's mail time. Da na 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 na.
Anyways, we talk about games we played, game news, anything else we feel like talking about.
Yeah, sometimes other stuff. I have some other things.
Yeah.
Sometimes kids, sometimes squids.
Let's just jump right into it this week because we all played Resident Evil.
We did.
And I will start, and I will say that is a damn fine game.
Yeah, I thought I was going to be the only one to play it because
Yes.
everyone's like, whoa, put the brakes on. Nintendo Switch is coming out, so all good games have to be put on the shelf.
Also, car repairs happened for me, and I was like,
Yeah.
maybe I shouldn't.
Maybe
I shouldn't
I
shell out
don't.
the
So still drop the $400 on the
$350.
toy.
Yeah, $350.
$400, and then still repair my car, and then don't get the $60 game.
So
Yeah.
I was the last to jump on the Baker family fun train. Because basically my big fear with this game was taking one look, saying,
Literally fear
"Fuck,
itself.
that looks scary," and then getting Vietnam flashbacks to anxiety attacks while playing Alien Isolation. Now, this game, thankfully, we'll go into it more later, isn't nearly as extreme as Alien
Yeah.
Isolation
I said
in terms
like
of
light,
the idea.
very diet Alien
Yeah,
Isolation.
like in terms of the idea of you're being stalked by something. You can always escape, and you always feel like somewhat empowered, which has helped. But yeah, I have to agree with what you guys said. Like I said it during the stream, but this is the first game I played in such a long time, probably since Doom. And I haven't beaten it, but I feel like I'm close-ish to the end. But probably since Doom, that I could say
no, probably not.
It's just fucking great. Like no caveats to that. It is just
Yeah.
a great fucking well-designed game.
I'm gonna. I think in my head, like we got in a certain time span, we have Doom, Resident Evil 7, and then Horizon, and for every three of those kinds of games, there are 50 slaughtering grounds. You
Yeah.
know, like there is so much shit covering the gems.
Well, we don't know Horizon. We can get Horizon. It could look like fucking Tales of Berseria when we start playing it.
I don't know. I hate to get like hopes up. I really do, but like I can feel it.
Gotta avoid the hype cycle. But we are talking about Resident
Yes.
Evil 7.
So one thing I want to say is that I feel like, so it's first person. The visuals are, the fidelity of that game is,
Stunning.
It's
That's a
absolute-
great looking game.
Yeah.
and so I think one of the things that really sets its horror apart is the kind of trust it builds with you, because you kind of figure out quickly like when you kill stuff and if it's dead and if it's going to stay dead or if it's going to come back. And that was one of the things that kind of put that anxiety to the side, where it's like, all right, I know I can come through this room and shit's not going to pop out at me again and again and again. And I know when I open this door, I'm not going to get my nard stomped by something. It happens occasionally, but it never happens frequently.
I'm gonna keep comparing this to Alien because I feel like it's just in terms of the stalking, it's like the closest thing I can compare it to. Alien felt very random. It felt very chaotic. It didn't feel like there were a certain set of rules, and then it did feel like when you thought you knew the rules, it would just change up on you completely. Resident Evil 7 has rules for how everything works, and so far, I can't speak for the later game, but so far it hasn't broken those rules, which has made, and I said it in the group text, it's made every encounter feel tense, but totally fair, totally
Exactly,
winnable.
yeah.
Whereas in Alien, if you got seen, you were fucked. Whereas in this, like, you always have a chance. There's always almost always something you can do to get out of the predicament that you're in.
Yeah, if you can fight. If you can't fight, you can run. And I feel like either time,
Not quickly, but you can.
no,
run.
yeah, you can, but you can get out of there. You can.
Yeah.
If an enemy is standing in your way, even in like tight hallways,
You can kind of sneak.
you can kind of get around them. Whether it's when they go to do the attacking motion, which means you're going to take damage.
Yeah.
But
Or
taking
even-
damage isn't the end all in this game.
No.
Actually, most of the time I played with damage on myself just because of the way I play.
Well, what I've done is like I've kept 2 healing items on me. I always have 1 kept in storage, and usually because I always end up taking a hit or 2, my health is about yellow. I don't use healing items till it hits red.
I kind of played with health a little haphazardly. I kind of like I knew there's like maybe 3 different layers of blood that will show up on the screen, and I kind of had the one where it's like, okay, if I'm this far, I'm okay, and then the next one, all right, I need to heal.
Did you go by
without
the,
even
the
looking.
blood, or did you go by your watch?
It
blood.
didn't. Yeah, I mean, I didn't.
I
have
always
to,
looked at the watch.
yeah, because I like that's kind of time sink. You look at, I mean, especially if you're about to fight something. But I kind of divvy this game up into 3 influences. It's 1/3 tension from Alien Isolation, quiet and dead. It's 1/3 The Last of Us in terms of crafting and like the absolute simplicity and intuitiveness of that menu.
Oh my god, that
And then
feels
it's
great.
And then it's 1/3 first person horror visual fidelity through the roof Outlast.
That
And
is
it's like the best parts of those 3 games, and all 3 of those games
and
are
then they
A+.
just like sprinkled on that like
the
Resident Evil flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Of
that is,
like
that is one of the best inventories I've like dealt with. Like
Yeah.
I'd say like it even puts like some of the inventories and like even 4 and remake to shame. Like it just the way everything kind of snaps together just feels so good. Where you get items that you can put together, and the fact that items stack as well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which they don't do in every Resident Evil, makes so that you do have to worry about space, but not to the extent that it gets in the way of the game itself.
I think my one pet peeve about inventory management was that I ended up having 2 shotguns and 2 pistols, and you can carry both of them, but if you have 2 pistols, you can't switch between one being active and one not being active. So
Okay.
let's say you're carrying the G18 and I forget what the other one is called.
okay.
If you run out of ammo in your G18 and you have the other one on you, you can't use that. You have
Ammo.
to you can't use that other gun because you can load a clip into that other gun, but you can't get it out.
Yeah.
So you have to literally go back to a storage box, cycle them in and out, and that's the only way you can get that done, which is a little bit of a bummer.
And that system works great. Like one of my favorite aspects about this game, and this is something I spent so much time doing last night, was just micromanaging and constantly running back to that save room and being like, I have too many of this, I need to put one back, and then always after everything I did in the save room, saving.
Yeah.
Always. I spent so much time just running back and forth, but didn't feel tedious. Like it felt like a part of the game. Like it felt like that system, that inventory management, that save management, like it felt like that bled into the gameplay, into something that just made sense.
Yeah, I had this funny thought. Like, I feel like if you had pulled back the camera into the third person view, it would feel a lot like an older Resident Evil.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Like,
where you move the camera back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I feel like even in first person, like your movement still feels slow and a little slightly cumbersome to the point
Yeah.
where like if this wasn't third person,
It would
fit right into
And-
the originals.
and to go off what you said, like even the shooting, even though you are in first person, you would think like, oh,
How about
I'm
those?
Soap McTavish. I'm gonna aim down the sights and blow your fucking
No.
face off. But no, it feels like Resident Evil shooting in first person.
I found the best way was to literally stop, like don't move,
Yeah.
and pick off
And-
the shots. And how about those, like the standard pistol shooting sound and then the hit sound? That's like
Yeah.
the classic Resident Evil. It was so awesome to hear that.
And then there are encounters because there are times where you do want to stand and shoot, but you don't always have the time to do that. So you take out your shotgun and you're shooting like kind of quickly because you have to, in the vain hopes that you're gonna hit something.
Yeah. I would say to anybody who isn't already too far in the gone and maybe too far gone in the story, and maybe you, Tom, make sure that when you go into the kids' attic, you get the toy gun, the toy shotgun, and then the toy axe, because you can get a double barrel shotgun, and that thing is killer. And
I've been very selective with killing things. In fact, most of the molded enemies I've just run past.
yeah, and that's the thing too. Like if you go down, you got to go down in the basement like at least like 2 or 3 times, probably 3 times.
Yeah.
And on that third time, it's like it's just
You
a
know the
waste.
route,
You just
yeah.
go, and that I didn't get the grenade launcher.
yeah, which I found was
I got-
surprising.
yeah,
'cause-
That was
I mean-
the first thing I did when I got that key.
And
Was run back out there.
I didn't have like a huge problem. There was definitely like a part where it's like if I had this, it probably would have taken me one less death.
Mm-hmm.
But it was nothing. You can get through the game fine.
That
wonder if-
boss after like
It's when it's mutated guy.
Yep,
Yeah,
okay.
that was it. That
I know
took me
exactly
like,
what you're talking about.
that took me like 1 or 2 extra times because I'm now using a double shotgun instead of a freaking grenade launcher.
I think the thing that's interesting about this game is that it's deceptive. And I think you can even go back to the first trailer where at a first glance you think, oh shit, they made Resident Evil a first person. I'm going to jump out and spook at you.
Yeah.
Survival horror game like Alien, like Outlast, like Slender, like a million that we have when it's so not that.
Exactly.
Like, you could tell there's a little bit of inspiration from that in the earlier parts, but it is Resident Evil. Like, and we always talk about like survival horror, like being transformed into this first person hide and seek game whereas Resident Evil 7 feels like it's bringing it back to fucking survival horror. You have means to fight, but it's limited, and
the best parts of those hide and seek games and very minimal amounts of it.
It feels, and this is so refreshing, especially coming off of Resident Evil 5 and 6, which I like those games a bit.
Yeah.
6 less than 5, but
I can't.
Yeah.
And for an extent, this feels similar in the vein of remake through Resident Evil 3 and Code Veronica. This feels like an adventure game, like those games did, more than an action game.
The one thing I'll say that I really appreciated, and it's funny because when we were texting in the group before, Tom, you got it.
Yeah.
You said it didn't seem as bad after like the first, after you get used to it and whatnot. And Charlie said something which you said something along the lines of, no, it's pretty spooky throughout.
I feel like
there are
it
parts.
maintained like a zero level of spooky, and then it would dip down, and then there would be that part that would go above average.
I just did a part.
But I think in the end, it all equaled out as like a very once you feel comfortable in that average spook level.
Yeah.
You didn't really have a problem playing it.
I just did part without spoiling anything, being vague. The upstairs part of an area.
Yeah. I think
which is by far the scariest part of the game I've hit so far, but that scared the shit out of me.
I literally, like I said in the group, I literally like audibly was like, ah. It was actually kind of.
This is my point I was going to say. It's funny because after that, I feel like it's almost as if I started feeling less like after that weird, creepy room. It was definitely tense, like while playing that segment. But I felt like I was becoming almost numb to what was going on, like with the scary stuff, especially the next section, which I really fell in love with just because it felt very Saw inspired.
Yes.
The way the character was talking to you and what you were doing and whatnot. And as a person who loves the Saw movies, even the bad ones, I can still enjoy. I really appreciated that. And I realized by the end of that, you fight a boss, and I kind of, the character actually says something of like, oh, this is getting old, and not kind of like in a bad way, just talking to this one specific character. And like, I felt like at that point, like even me playing the game was like, all right, I'm fucking set. And then what I liked about that is it immediately switches it up on you.
Yeah.
And does something different that I'm not going to say because I don't think you've seen it yet. I know you definitely have.
Let's just not spoil.
Yeah, I'm not.
You won't.
And you're in the middle of it now, which is something I appreciated. And then like, there's another moment I really like, and you're going to see it very soon. It's a very human moment, and it really sticks out because in this fucking disgusting house where you have these southern, like just monstrous type people just doing horrible things.
Yeah.
Where everything just looks horrible, and there's this really good like moment between your character and someone else, and it's just so well done, and it like kind of like propels you to like the end of the game.
Okay.
And that's what it sets up, like the final like scenes and everything. And it's really awesome, and like for some reason that I've seen it now twice. Like that scene, I just absolutely love it. And when you get to it, you'll probably know what I'm talking about because it's a cutscene. That's all it is.
You had mentioned before the game like being aware of you being tired of something and then moving you immediately on to the next thing.
Yeah.
That speaks to something I've been so impressed with in this game has been the expert pacing. I've not played a game that's been paced this well since like
Gravity Rush 2.
No, God fucking no. In a long time, I haven't played a game that's fucking paced this well, where you are constantly moving on to the next thing and you're spending just enough time in areas. But I think the most, like the best thing I've seen, and we talked about on the stream, has been just the fucking expert level design. Like it is shortcut porn everywhere, where you're opening doors that are leading into areas, and you realize
Putting
this
that
is one
giant
big
key
shortcut.
in the door
Yeah.
and it go.
And then you look behind you and realize there's a safe room, and it cuts off so much time off of your traversal. It is designed, and it goes back to the first Resident Evil game, which was designed like this, and even Resident Evil 2 and 3. It just feels so good to find those shortcuts and to find items hidden in areas that you wouldn't even think to look. Like, the game is just paced expertly.
Yeah, so like when I found those repair kits, I was carrying around on me the broken handgun and the broken shotgun, and I the only thing I had looked up was that there were repair kits. Like, I wasn't sure the method of that or like what I would need to get. So I Googled, like I basically looked at, there was the guide. Like, when you Google something, it gives you like the link in blue and then like a short, like the first paragraph. And I read that and it's like repair kit. Okay, good. I know what I need. And so I scoured that house.
Yeah.
And found that thing, that patch, and then that pedestal that looked like the light, and I'm like, is this the thing I think it is? And it was. And I was reading complaints that maybe the puzzles were too simple, but I think if you like actually took the time to look around the entire area, there are things that
the whole house
have no
house feels like a puzzle in no sense.
Yeah, but like that the shot, like the shotgun was the shotgun.
I gotta be honest, like
thing.
That's
not my complaint. I'm
probably in the minority, because I know there are a lot of hardcore Resident Evil fans who like, I like the hard puzzles. I don't particularly like hard puzzles in any game, so like finding out that they were relatively easy and relatively straightforward was kind of a relief to me personally.
That's one of my favorite memories of playing Remake for the first time, was having that double-sided sheet of paper that I had just written everything down on, because as I was playing it, I realized like there were puzzles that connected to other puzzles, and a lot of them were number puzzles or word puzzles, or you have to have one item for this door, but then at the very end of the game, when you go to the last section, you need to run back to that door, take the item out, and then use it to unlock the final door.
That's pretty nuts.
And it's stuff like that
that's cool, but I feel like if I had to take notes for puzzles in this game, I would be turned off.
No, honestly, I feel the same way. Where like I liked it in that, and I think because when you play that, you kind of you got to set your mindset that just came out in 96 or something.
Yeah.
And like where this is now, 2017, where it's
the 2017 version.
Yeah, exactly. Where
Yeah.
the puzzles are simpler, but I think it makes up for in the way the house looks, the way the house
level
is set up.
design.
Yeah, the way everything's like you were saying, the way it all connects together.
Now,
Like,
if you had it your way, Joe, would you rather it be inverse?
what do you mean?
Would you rather have like maybe a less sophisticated looking house, but like a deeper meaning to the things within it?
No, I'd prefer this way.
I
Just
feel
'cause
like
it's-
I feel like the stuff in the house, like and I don't know if you're talking about the puzzles in particular, but I felt like the landmarks and iconography around the house had plenty of meaning. Like I found myself,
I meant like in terms of puzzles and objects that are used to do things.
I prefer the way it is.
like
definitely.
Remake, I found myself finding like notes that added to the lore in newspaper articles, and I read all those. Like I thought those
Yeah,
things
me
were
too, me
fascinating
too.
to find.
I was kind of looking for names in those that I don't know a
And
vast.
there were a few.
You'll get there.
Okay, I'm excited. I'm
I've
so
seen
happy.
I've seen a few callbacks.
This is one of those things where I said it, episodes ago, where like, just forget about it. Just the game's been announced with a great announce to release.
Yeah.
Like that's
E3
oof,
2016
that's
to
the
now.
best.
Out January.
That's
Fucking great.
tasty. It's the tastiest thing out there. The game will come out and it will be hopefully what you trusted that game to be. And this game, this is like, that's not like a definitive science. Like that is just pure luck.
Yeah.
I still think that this game should have been garbage. Like it should have been terrible. Like Doom should have been terrible, but it just
Well, you
was
know
not
what's
terrible.
great about this? I feel like we weren't beat over the head with hype for it. Fuck,
Exactly.
I wasn't even that excited for it. When it was coming out. It wasn't until I played it that was like, fuck, this is awesome.
Yeah.
It's definitely, it was something I was looking forward to, and I'm glad that we got the quick release. I like that they changed it up from whatever the hell Resident Evil was becoming. Like,
Yeah.
as much as I
A
love 4,
monster.
like it's so weird because as much as I love 4, like just playing it for the first time in August, you can see that was the beginning of what started Resident Evil down the down its track. Like Like, don't get me wrong, I like Resident Evil 5, but it was more action paced. And
Resident Evil 5 is awesome.
Then 6 is just I
Six is a
can't stand
monster.
6. I think 6 is
I gotta
really
be honest.
bad.
I think 6 is kind of rad.
Yeah,
But here's the thing. I feel
can't
like
even play it.
Resident Evil is such a cool brand now, where I can look at the movies. I could look at Resident Evil 1 through 3, and then I could look at 4 through 6.
Okay.
And then I can look at Resident Evil 7, and I can appreciate all of them for what they are. Like,
yeah.
I don't look at any part of the series and be like, oh, fuck, hold on. So that's when the series started to go downhill. Like, I feel like everything in this series, even 6, I know 6 is reviled in some circles, but even 6 has its merits of fucking drop kicking zombies. All right. Like,
Yeah, I just couldn't. I can't be with you on this
and
train for 6.
I think in that sense,
He's trying to sell you.
I think in that sense, Resident Evil is a cool fucking series. And playing 7 has only made me want to go pick up Resident Evil 4 because I would like to replay that. I haven't played that in years. Pick up Resident Evil 5 and then try again to play through Remake because like I'm excited about Resident Evil again.
Yeah. I would love to play Remake. I would love to have that fortitude. Like I know because of you, Joe, what is involved.
Yeah.
And I just I'm not willing.
Man, like I
The
honestly
spirit
like,
isn't there.
I felt bad because like for weeks now doing this show, like I haven't been in the mood to play anything. Like I had
Yeah.
Watch Dogs 2, it wasn't like it's a good game. I just wasn't getting into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then really all I was doing was Rocket League and Time Clickers, and that was all I was playing. I was mainly watching stuff, like just like in my free time if I was at home, and like just to have that feeling of picking this up Tuesday and not wanting to put it down.
Or having something, it's been a similar case to me, having something that you've been thinking about when you're not playing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
that's
constantly.
the other thing.
And so last night I was studying and it was like 7:30 or 8 and I'm like, all I'm thinking about is I'm just coming off of the Marguerite fight and I'm like, what's next? What's
Yeah.
next? And I was like, all right, it's 8 o'clock. I'll play till 12. I'll get up an hour or two early to finish studying for my class at 12. When in reality I played until like 1 or 2 in the morning and I totally fucked everything up. But but like that hook in the back of your mind is like something that was missing for a while.
I think we're all in the same boat. We're like, it's fucking exciting. It's exciting to be playing something that you want to play again. Like that, not just be playing a time sinker. Like I was playing with Skyrim for a long time. Like just to have something all I want to do is play that game.
And I feel like, and I know you might think of the hate speech because I don't like it, but I feel like that is what the March to holiday 2017 is going to feel like for the Switch. Where like you're going to get your game, you're going to get Zelda, and then you're going to have that really long period of time where you're going to be burning it on stuff. And then you know when Mario finally launches, I feel like that game is going to be so special that it's going to bring everybody right back in.
I'm very excited for that, but I think the Switch is a little different, and let's not go too deep down this rabbit
Yeah,
hole.
That's why I was
I just want to
saying.
dip my toes.
you know.
I think the Switch is a little different because I have a PS4 as well. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
in that
that's
time,
true.
I'm going to be playing Horizon. I'm going to be playing Mass Effect.
Are you getting
know what I
Horizon?
mean? Not when it comes out. I would like to play Zelda first, but after that, I'll definitely pick it up.
I'm
Yeah.
so excited for that game.
It's the first game in a while where I beat. It gave me, there's 2 screens at the end where one is like items that carry over and the other one is, I will not say it because it's kind of a spoiler for free DLC coming out in the spring. There's articles about it, so it is out there. I just don't want to spoil it because I think it's really cool.
Go read an article.
Yeah. And it gave me this list of like, oh, you unlocked these 2 items for your next playthrough. I was like, ooh. Well, if I got it, what's the other? How do I get other stuff to make a possible hard difficulty run quicker? They were like, oh, beat it in under 4 hours. And I immediately just picked up the controller and was like, all right, fuck it, let's do this. And just started playing a second time. And now I'm playing for a third time because I want to play it on Madhouse difficulty to get infinite ammo. Why?
Wow, that's awesome. I didn't know that was a thing.
And that's your reward for
Because then you can do that 4th playthrough as the unstoppable God King.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I want to do. I want to play through this game.
Being invincible, literally.
I want it so like if I go, because I do this with Tomb Raider, the original Tomb Raider reboot from 2013. Every once in a while, I'll go like, I just want to play through it, and I'll play through it in the 6 or 7 hours it takes me to beat that game now. But that has no new game plus. I would love for this to be a game, be like, I feel like playing Resident Evil and be able to load in and just have the X-ray glasses, the defense, the infinite ammo, and just be like, all right, I'm gonna fuck this entire game up right now. And like you both said, like it's great to have that feeling with a video game again because I feel like I haven't for for a good while now, where
Yeah.
this is exactly what I wanted to play. And as much as like I hate myself sometimes when I play these horror games, like the Outlast 2 demo,
Yeah.
like I'm playing it, I'm like, why the fuck do I like this so much? And like, granted, Outlast 2 is more just straight horror, while this is more, you feel empowered in this game eventually.
Yeah.
To a point where we were talking about it before, where it's not really an issue anymore. And like, I'm still excited for Outlast 2, but like, I play these horror games and I'm like, I don't know why I like this so much, because it is just, it makes your heart race. You're tense. Like my third playthrough now on Madhouse, like just because all the enemies are tougher, it actually kind of made the scene with Mia that you made that you've seen in the beginning, with her crawling up the stairs, just horrifying.
Yeah,
because like
absolutely.
I know I'm gonna have to try and fight her, and now she's gonna be extremely hard. The fucking attic fight with her in the very beginning, and this all happens in the first 15 minutes of the game. So the first like fight you have with her where you have to put her down, she has the chainsaw, is fucking brutal, because you don't have any of those items yet that help you with your defense, or you don't have the powerful pistol, or you don't have this or that. So
that first 20 minutes, 15 minutes, by the way, is fucking awesome.
It's great.
Yeah,
I love that.
What a great opening.
I love that it starts you off in the demo house from the beginning hour. I think that's great. I think that's that's fun to put in there. I mean, you start looking for all the items. Obviously,
I was kind of.
I was disappointed to find that the lockpick wasn't there.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I can't believe it,
because there's still that locked, that locked closet or cabinet.
I can't believe they did that.
Well, the other thing I'm mad
about.
We
end up getting the axe a different way. So,
the one thing I will say, and I don't know, I noticed it on your version too. The audio to mouth syncing
is very weird. It's like not good.
Yeah, not at all. Like
that's just like an engine thing. It's not like a
bad
voice
acting. I wonder if that's due to frame rate at all.
No, because I mean the thing's running at 60. I mean they have like the lengths over like the last 30 years. Like the technology's developed to record sound and then have it sync to frames is like it's such a science now that like that could never be the issue. It's just like an engine, like the way Pixar will animate mouse or like whatever system they have in place.
Because I noticed it with Baker on the car or Marguerite with the door slamming. I always notice it when she goes to slam the door on you because it's just so off.
Yeah.
We were. I don't know. Are we done talking about Resident Evil?
We're almost at the half-hour mark. So.
Yeah, I was gonna cut it off soon because. Obviously, I think we all highly recommend picking it up. I think it's definitely
play this game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I would be surprised if it's not one of the like.
It gets the podcasting mastered golden
buy of the
week. The golden shit stuff down the drain with your hands.
Yes, we have to have somebody draw that and make us a cool little badge, and then we'll start putting it on stuff.
So I was talking about a game you want to play, just want to keep going back to. Resident Evil 7 was that game for me. You know what wasn't that game for me?
Oh, yeah.
Gravity Rush 2.
So tell us about your awakening, your revival.
Not an awakening. Let me preface this by saying I love Gravity Rush. Love Gravity Rush Remastered. Got the Platinum Trophy. Think that game is a small, fun, bite-sized thing that is fun to do and has just the right amount of content. Gravity Rush 2 is very beautiful. Has so many good things going for it. It improves on almost all the gravity gameplay, gives you new powers of the first game, but the game has one very serious falter that brings this game, if I were giving it a number, brings this game down from a 9 to a fucking 6. And it's the mission design. The side mission design and the main mission design is fucking terrible. Terrible to the point that I got so frustrated during one of the 20,000 stealth missions that they make you do while you're playing the main quest. Mind you, stealth missions in a Gravity Rush game.
Yeah,
stealth missions.
That doesn't sound very good.
Where they say, no, you can't gravity shift. You have to avoid these enemies and their very specific lines of sight. Otherwise, we fail state you and put you back at the start of the mission. And I got so fed up with this one mission that it was like in the middle of an autosave and I just fucking exited out of it, turned it off, uninstalled it, took the game out, drove to GameStop, traded in and got Resident Evil. It is such a glaring flaw in what should be a great game. And that's the thing that sucks is that this game should be fucking great. Like it looks fantastic, sounds fantastic. it's interesting, but the mission structure is so beholden to like this idea that I guess they thought the stealth missions would have variety. They don't. But not just stealth missions, these timing missions, which I talked about last week, where you're timed, but the camera is too uncooperative for you to really be successful in those. And then the Rift Plane missions, which are all the same structure. You go to the Rift Planes, which look cool, but then you go to these stone tablets and it gives you a fucking, basically like a sub-objective, and you have to do that in order to progress. And it's not fun. And this is every Rift Plane you go to the point where like after the thrill of seeing the new location wears off, you're just like, fuck, I don't want to do this. And that was the thing, like even collecting the gems, like I love doing that in the first game, but I would just look at a bunch of them and I'd just be like, fuck, I don't want to do this right now. Like, and it's such a shame too, because Gravity Rush 2 should have been fantastic. And in many ways it is, but it has so many glaring issues that the good things about the game, they just don't make up for it. They don't, and it sucks. Like, it was something I wanted to be. I was invested in the story, but I just got too fed up with it. And at this point in my life, I don't have time to play things that I'm not enjoying.
Exactly.
Like fucking Resident Evil. Like, I'm enjoying immensely right now. I just don't have time to fucking waste my time with something right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah, it sucks.
I would say, like, if you really need to know, play Gravity Rush 2. If you really like it, if you feel like you can look past those issues, more power to you. This game has a lot of good things going for it, but fuck, the bad things are just so fucking bad, and it's a shame. That's all I can say is that game is a shame, and I was so excited for it. I feel so let down. I mean, barring anything else, that comes out of this year, this is probably the first runner-up on the most disappointing list, which is a shame. I hate, like, it stings to say that because I love so much about Gravity Rush, and I love those characters in the world, but God.
What's funny is we actually had a listener on Twitter tweet at us about how he loved that we gave Gravity Rush 2 some time, and now I'm just
so sorry.
I was like,
I'm so sorry. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Keep enjoying it if you are, but I couldn't do it anymore.
So I didn't play anything else this week. Charlie, did you? Or
no.
Okay, so want to take a break, and we'll be right back with some news, and yeah, that's it. Just news.
Yeah.
Hey guys, it's your host Joe. Thanks for checking out the show this week. If you haven't already, head over to iTunes and subscribe to the show. We love to hear from you. Send an email to podcastdemastered@gmail.com with any comments or questions. We may even discuss your email live on the show. To stay up to date, follow us on Twitter @DemasterCast. For our live streams, you can go to twitch.tv/podcastdemastered. And lastly, our video content can be found at youtube.com/podcastdemasteredshow. Now, let's get back to the show. And we are back to handle some news. We're not going to have a topic of the week this week because I feel like Resident Evil was kind of our topic of the week.
How are we handling the news?
How we handling the news? What?
Rough? You just said it. No, are we handling it rough? Gently? Somewhere in between?
Somewhere in between.
Okay.
Because I feel Resident Evil was kind of our topic of the week. So let's move on to the news. I'm going to say it seductively. To capture you, Charlie. First up, Prey got a release date coming out May 5th.
That game looks really neat.
Yeah, it does, and I think unless they send out review copies early because God forbid a company does that, and it's like it tanks. I probably will pick that up.
That looks like if I talk so much.
Oh, that's Bethesda, right?
Bethesda's
game. Yeah. Okay.
I shit on this game so much, being like, that's not the Prey.
It's not Prey, yeah.
Hashtag not my Prey.
Oh my God. You are literally the scum of the scum.
But that being said, that game looks cool as hell, and I'm definitely gonna pick it up.
Exactly.
That looks like one of the most creative first-person, sci-fi shooters I've seen in a long time, and to no one's surprise, it's coming from Arcane, and they did some really creative shit with the Dishonored series, but just the ideas that game is toying with, and in the AAA space, which I feel like you really only see those kind of cool sci-fi ideas being toyed around in the indie space now. It's cool to see the AAA publishers taking a stab at it, and that game just looks like it has so many neat ideas. I'm really excited to play that.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. Looks like Bethesda kind of has their month where they want to kind of make games shine. They had Doom last year in May, Wolfenstein a few years ago back in May, so it feels like that's kind of there.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I actually don't own a copy of Doom. And I was in a GameStop a couple days ago, and I saw they had one of the big thing. I didn't see the price on it, but I was like,
Oh,
No,
the
if I had
statue in it?
if I had the extra cash, I'd
You could just
probably
buy a
that.
physical copy. It's like $20.
No, I know I can. I thought it was fun, worth mentioning. Like I still haven't even bought a copy of
Yeah.
that game.
So yes, that's looking forward to May. If it wasn't coming so close to Mario Kart 8, I probably would get it, but
Your priorities are definitely
yeah, my
strange.
priorities are different. Also, it's not coming to Switch, so
Yeah, that's a shame.
not gonna play.
No HG Rumble, no buy.
Yeah. Next up, which is a franchise we don't really talk about much here, but Skylanders
Yeah.
might be done with. According to
I'm not
them,
surprised.
the Imagineer sales were down and apparently disappointing to Activision, to the point where Activision might have canceled the 2017 game.
Okay.
And now it seems that Toys for Bob is kind of in a limbo state, kind of waiting their next project, which will probably be DLC maps for Call of Duty.
I don't
So,
think this is a surprise to anyone. Once Disney backed down, it was only a matter of time before Skylanders. I mean, they were seeing a decline for
Yeah.
the past 2 years now. Now that Skylanders out of the loop, I wonder how they're going to keep that brand going. I know they just had that Netflix show start. It seems like the brand itself seems to be selling well to kids, but just not the games
It's just
anymore.
when you annualize something like that, I feel like it's
and
hard
something that
to,
is such like you have to buy a new portal every
Yes.
year and all that.
Yeah.
I just wonder how long before Lego Dimensions bites it, which would be a shame because I think Lego Dimensions is doing some really neat things.
They're doing neat things. I think.
you never hear about them in like big ways.
Yeah,
you know, like
there's only
at
one
least
person I follow that really talks about them, and that's Greg Miller, who's obsessed with it.
That's
But like,
weird.
I don't know. Like the Toys for Life, I think Lego got into
Toys
it.
for Life.
This has been interesting.
Toys to Life.
Toys to Life.
even amiibos don't sell what they used to, and this has been interesting to watch when you look at when Skylanders came out in 2011, and we were all mad because they took Spyro and put him in this toy game, but like Skylanders blew up to the point where you had parents fighting each other at Toys R Us to get certain Skylanders,
And that's the true victory.
and people reselling them on eBay for like $100. Like, it's crazy to see the rise and fall of this whole genre. It reminds me of the music game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
This feels a lot like the music game.
which I think hopefully is now dead forever. Like is
Probably.
good.
Oh
to
yeah,
for a
that's,
while.
that's
So,
not coming back.
While Tom, everything you said was grounded in reality and like facts and things, I'm gonna now ground my argument in the saddest truths.
alternative facts.
Yes, alternative facts, post facts.
Post truths,
I feel
facts,
like
truth.
now the Toys to Life thing was the coolest, newest, differentest thing to happen to video games, whereas that happened to YouTube was the
Toy Channel.
the toy channel thing. And so I think this is now in decline.
But
We're
Charlie-
gonna have to wait for something new. to
Charlie,
come.
don't you
God.
want to see what's
Oh God!
inside
Don't you
the
can't even
Kinder
say it with
Surprise
a
egg?
straight face.
Don't you want to see what's inside the Kinder Surprise egg?
Have you guys played the Toys for Life? I actually played
No, I've never
Skylanders Swap
played one.
Force. I got the one that came when
I
the
toyed
PS4
around with the
launched.
demo for one. It
Um,
was fun.
toyed around with
It's Diablo Light.
Yeah, I kind of enjoyed it, but I never wanted to.
So like, what about like the new Sonic stuff and like Crash Bandicoot?
Well, the Sonic stuff was in Lego Dimensions.
Okay,
Crash
okay.
Bandicoot, I think Crash's feature now depends on how well that HD trilogy does, which
Yeah.
I'm very excited for. But
Yeah, it looks great.
yeah, I mean that game was made using the Skylanders engine.
Mhm.
Really,
The remake of the three original games.
Oh, That's
it's an
interesting.
Activision studio
Yeah.
making the game, so
very interesting.
Vicarious Visions, I think.
I think the Crash thing. Well, we'll see how that goes. I don't think Skylanders is going to play a huge effect on it, but I wonder what they're going to do with Spyro after this. I wonder if the Crash thing does well, and I'd seen this suggested before, Sony tries to
Insomniac
do a
thing,
similar
yeah.
partnership.
A
They get-
revival of like the 3D Spyro.
get the
Ooh,
original Spyro games back.
I could buy into something like that.
Yeah,
if
so
it
could-
looked, if it had the right look to it, like if like an Enter the Dragonfly
You know,
type.
I'm going to
situation.
support it.
Oh no, like Spyro, a
I
Spyro
liked-
2 type situation.
I liked Enter the Dragonfly a lot.
You also have poor taste.
Which one was Ripto's Rage?
2, Spyro 2.
Yeah, that game was great.
Yeah, Spyro 2 was
I'm not
fantastic.
saying that
Oh.
was not good one. I also liked Enter the Dragonfly.
Which one was that?
It was
The
just
third
another
one?
3D.
And Enter the Dragonfly was the first.
I had it on-
that was on GameCube. That was
Oh,
the
Yeah, I had
first,
it on
yeah.
GameCube.
That was the first
Non.
non-Insomniac
Okay.
developed one.
I mean, I thought it was I
the
played
first
it when
like
I was
non-PlayStation
Yeah, I
exclusive
got
one.
you.
How old were we when that came out? You know, like that. I thought it was a very fun game.
I
to
had
play.
taste.
I was
back then,
42
though,
years
so.
old.
Yeah. And are you Benjamin Button? Are you
I'm
Asian?
Ben- No, my nephew's Benjamin Button.
Okay.
Yeah, Ripto's Rage though was fucking rad.
Yeah.
I'd play that again.
I remember getting that first game for my birthday. I played a ton of that first
yeah,
game.
no, I played it a lot. I had it on PS3 as a PS1 classic.
How about maybe some Game Boy games, some DS games, some of those.
I never played any of the.
Yeah,
no,
neither
I
did
did play one Spyro Game Boy game, and
The
those
one where
games
you-
were all right. Those
yeah,
weren't
they
bad.
were. There was one where you like collected fairies, or you collected some sort of maybe it was freaking dragonflies. I don't know, but that one was. I remember that being fun.
And that was cool because there was a period of time where 3D platformers were coming out in the Game Boy Advance, but there were these isometric 3D
Yeah,
platformers.
yeah.
There was a Banjo-Kazooie game, Grunty's Revenge, and then there were the Spyro games.
I remember that.
Yeah, and then there was like the wherever the two Vikings are, they're like popular French characters. I don't know.
Yeah.
But there for a while there were these isometric 3D platformers coming out for the Game Boy. They were really cool. A lot of them were pretty all right. Those Spyro games
Yeah.
were pretty all right.
Mhm. What was can you remember I found a Spyro Game Boy Advance cartridge and it sat
Oh,
in my
yeah, it sat up
sat
there
on
on
that
the-
thing for
Was it
Months.
the Crash Bandicoot crossover one? You know they did like the Pokemon thing where it
This was
different
just a
colors.
Spyro one.
Yeah, I can't remember.
They put out one. There were two Game Boy games. There was a Crash game and the Spyro game, but they crossed over essentially like the two Pokemon colors. So one was a Crash game where you're playing as Crash in Spyro's world. Then one was a Spyro game
that's
where you're playing
cool.
as Spyro in Crash's world.
That's
I have
weird.
no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name. That thing sat there for so
Yeah,
long,
no.
and I don't even remember
I
what
picked
it
it up
was.
so many times and looked at it and put it back down. Man, that sucks.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to our next one. Xbox is having an update. We just like to shit on Xbox as often as we can here. I guess
do.
now. No,
I mean,
no.
I take the brunt of
They're
that responsibility.
uncanceling Recore. It's now a collectible card game.
There's two things about this one. One, they seem to be getting rid of the snap function,
Yeah.
That's
which
sad.
was
That's
kind of
one-
their unique
which-
thing, I guess. But
yeah, I mean, but it's just like, I mean, it wasn't entirely Microsoft's decision to do this, but like we know in the 360 when Xbox had that exclusive Netflix
yeah, the party
thing,
system. Yeah,
which was so awesome.
yeah, it was.
And I mean, I'm pretty sure that was mostly Netflix's decision.
Netflix
to
wanted
remove it,
parody across all platforms, and they just couldn't do it on other things.
which is
so.
just another example of communism taking down.
I'm
our
going to be
country.
honest. I'm really bummed out by this news. I loved, and when I had an Xbox, I used the snap feature a ton.
Yeah, I mean that was snapping like Twitch or YouTube. I mean, and
There were-
Netflix also in the beginning supported it, but it was super jank.
The past 2 years, 2015, 2016, when ADGQ and SCGQ were
Yeah.
on, I would snap those aside and play like Fallout 4 or Forza or something and shut my
Exactly.
mind off to, but I would also be watching at the same time.
Yeah.
And I would put on YouTube videos on the side and play games. Like, that was a great feature. I think it's a shame that it's being lost in this update, but at the same time, I understand why they're doing it.
It was
Because
just
one
bad
of
for
the
performance.
main issues the Xbox One UI has now is it's fucking slow and it's laggy.
Yeah, and
So if this is gonna help fix that, I guess it's more important. But at the same time, like it was a really cool feature.
like and you know, it'll be interesting to see if maybe they have some sort of picture-in-picture thing on Scorpio.
It's
It's
funny. It almost feels like all the ideas that the Xbox One was revealed on, the DVR, the
Yeah.
Kinect, the
they're all slowly
Snap,
fading
they're all
away.
kind of gone now.
Yeah.
It's like, what happened to those? What happened?
I think there are there are not many chances left to take on Xbox in terms of it being a part of a huge company and a huge part of that company. So yeah, I mean, like this thing is promising like huge improvements across the board. I can't remember the director of some piece of technology at
Yeah.
Microsoft. I think it's like
He was
Mike
in the video with Major
Ybarra
Nelson, though.
or something like that.
Yeah, that's the name.
and he's touting that like there's a one-click guide button. It's really weird. Like when a new dashboard update comes out, there's 50 articles written about it, right? But they all describe it in a slightly different way, and there's never like a good capture of it.
You have to go
I
to,
think if you go to Xbox's website, you can find there's like a 4-minute
Yeah.
clip. We looked at it briefly, and things are streamlined. I'll be interested to see how this runs on a standard launch day Xbox One. And then the first thing I'm going to do is compare that to PS4, and it's always been great.
You know, it's a shame. You remember when they did the first big UI update and it was the new Xbox One experience?
Are you talking
Yeah.
on Xbox One or the 360?
Xbox One.
Yeah.
That first iteration of it was great. That thing ran well. I remember being in the beta for it and just being excited because it was such a huge, substantial improvement. And then over time, I don't know what happened, but they just updated it until it just eroded into this fucking.
It slowly got worse. I was in that
think-
beta too. It was so fast.
So. I think that had to do with a big update that happened to Windows 10, and I think some parts of those updates got leaked into this Xbox Windows monstrosity, and I think that might have tore it down. But one of the things about this new big update is that Microsoft is updating the Xbox platform on PC, and it's going to have this new bar thing, and like they're putting that on Xbox, and like that's a big part of this whole thing.
Okay. Because I have the Xbox app on my PC.
Yeah, so like I think that thing will be seeing a big update.
It's not a very...
No, it's
not a very good...
It's not robust at all.
Yeah.
I mean...
I wouldn't be too excited about that then. I didn't know that's kind of what they were planning. But
are you given options to like are you given like a shortcut icon on your desktop to launch like Xbox games, or do you have to load that up to play them?
If you hit the Windows button with... if you hold down the Windows button, and depending on what button you hit, you can pop up different things. I know like Windows G is brings you all the recording options up right on your screen.
Okay,
Throw,
that's pretty
record, screenshots, and kind of shit like that. Obviously, it works best with the Windows 10 games.
Yeah.
But it also does work with Steam games and whatnot. It just doesn't recognize the file, so it doesn't go on your, like, if I screenshot a picture of me playing Resident Evil, which I bought on Steam, not the Windows 10 store, it won't pop up in my timeline. But if I was playing Gears and took a screenshot, it would pop right in my timeline.
Okay.
Like that picture is still saved to my computer. It's just not recognized as an Xbox picture.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
You
But
know,
that's
it does.
the only option I really use. I know you can navigate it. There's more shortcuts. I just don't take advantage of them.
Yeah.
So are they implementing a better option for taking screen captures and recording video? Because the thing they have now, where you have to like double tap the home button, like that doesn't work
like
well.
just trying to bring like just doing a single click on that guide button is, we've said it because
it's a crapshoot. You don't know if it's gonna fucking
exactly. Yeah, you don't know if
crash your game or if it's gonna let you take the picture.
I mean, yeah, and I think it seems like they're stripping out these miscellaneous parts, these vestigial organs, as it were, that may be causing all these problems, and it seems like they're implementing new menus and new ways of going between like layers of guides. So we'll see what comes. I expect nothing great from Microsoft.
If you expect nothing, you can still be disappointed.
Yeah, that's very true.
Oh man.
Let's move on to our final news topic, news story. And this one I'm very excited for. Caught me completely off guard.
If Joe's excited for it, I don't want anything
very
to do with
sad
it.
for.
Yes, me too. So last Wednesday, both Square Enix and Marvel both sent out two separate tweets that were both like, hey, we have an announcement coming tomorrow. Just pay attention. No clue that they were connected.
Yeah.
For some reason, before it happened, I didn't connect it. I don't know why.
I thought it was going to be, I thought assuredly, and this could still happen, I thought assuredly it was the announcement of Marvel World and Kingdom Hearts, or
something
like some screenshot of what that's going to be.
Interesting.
I could still see that happening though.
Yeah.
So what we got was a minute-long teaser. It was basically announcing that Square Enix is, as of right now, making the future Marvel game projects.
Not exclusively though.
Not
right?
exclusively, no,
Yeah.
because obviously we still have Telltale doing Guardians of the Galaxy coming out relatively soon. And we have the Insomniac made
Spider-Man.
PS4 exclusive Sony Spider-Man game. So those two are coming out. And then with this, we got Marvel's Avengers Reassemble, which is the project title, not the official title. And we found out it's being co-developed between Crystal Dynamics, who last did the Tomb Raider games, and Eidos Montreal, who last did the Deus Ex franchise, along with Thief and a few other games.
You really want to throw Thief in their credits?
Well, I just wanted to,
yeah.
So you know what they've made. And then we also found out on top of this that Eidos Montreal is working on top of the Avengers game. They're still doing that Tomb Raider game that they were rumored to be working on.
Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Shadow of the Tomb Raider. This all comes from Eurogamer today, by the way. And that their other untitled Marvel game that they're working on is a Guardians of the Galaxy game.
I don't know how I feel about that, especially with the Telltale game. Like, that feels like a little overkill.
Granted, they will be two completely different playing games, because Telltale's going to be more story-based. Guardians of the Galaxy has more chance to be more like third-person action.
I wonder, it's funny, if you look at a property like Guardians of the Galaxy or the Avengers, those are group
team-ups.
Team-ups. How is that going to play? Or maybe they'll go the route where make a character, you are a new Avenger, you are a new Guardian, and you interact with these characters. I don't know, it's going to be really interesting to see how they pull that off. They come out.
And then Crystal Dynamics is not working on any Tomb Raider games, and they are, alongside co-developing the Avengers game, they are also working on their own Marvel project. That one, there seems to be no rumor on what that one is.
Squirrel Girl.
Yeah.
Yes.
Skull Crawl.
I'd play that.
I would play that game.
So yeah, it's just weird because Marvel's doing, I think, a really good job with handling their properties. They're not just shitting them out to Sega or Activision.
Well, we'll see, because a similar thing was announced with Sega, and Sega shot those games out.
Yeah. Well, I think Marvel's in a different stance now that they're owned by Disney, and Disney got completely out of video games, and they handed the Star Wars franchise over to EA, and so far EA is, I feel, handled that franchise really
they've
well.
done all right.
They haven't been shitting out games. They've been taking their time, making sure they're building them correctly. And I think if they're taking the same approach, they probably want the Marvel games to be like that too. The one thing that does suck though is now it came out today that Deus Ex is on permanent hiatus because Montreal is now working on 3 games. So
as someone who just really got into that story and that series this year, that sucks.
Yeah, it does.
That sucks so much that story is not going to get a conclusion. And the fact that they ended it, Charlie, we're not being hyperbolic. This was a fucking cliffhanger-ass cliffhanger that's not going to get resolution now.
For at least for a while.
I mean, unless by some miracle, like another publisher came in, said, hey, we'll buy all this from you, and then decided to put out the new Deus Ex game, maybe.
Even then it wouldn't be
realistically,
the same.
If we do see anything from Deus Ex, it's going to be in 7 to 10 years, and it's going to be a reboot.
Yeah. Like, we won't get the continuation
sad.
of Jensen's story.
Which sucks, because and I've been replaying Mankind Divided 2, and I've been super fucking into it.
But you got Mankind Divided too?
No, I've been replaying Mankind Divided as well, and I've
TOO.
I know.
Man, I just got so into that. I'm so upset about that.
It does.
It stings.
Yeah, because I love that franchise. I love the Human Revolution. So it does suck that that's on high. That is not a priority at all. It makes sense because we heard that the
it did not sell
Mankind sales were disappointing.
Maybe they shouldn't have split that game into 2 games. Maybe they should take another year. I don't know.
Yeah,
I would have been fine with that. Maybe Square Enix wouldn't have been, but fuck.
Yeah, maybe they shouldn't have made Thief and just jumped on that project instead and had the game out sooner. Or
just made
remembered
Thief 2.
correctly.
Like, fuck. I mean, I know I ranted and raved about Gravity Rush earlier, but I did because I knew I wasn't gonna beat it. I just ended up looking up the ending on YouTube. That game wraps up. I'm not ever gonna go back to that game.
No, yeah, that's fine.
That game wraps up everything because they knew that was gonna be the last one.
Yeah, they didn't think this was gonna be the last Deus Ex. For Marvel games though, I am really excited that this is happening. I like that. I love these movies.
I'm tentatively excited. I feel like we haven't seen enough of anything, and the 3 projects we do know vaguely about, we've seen small little things. I feel like I can't be excited right now because we don't know enough to be excited.
My excitement factor comes from how licensed games have been handled the past 5 years, with Warner Brothers kind of making with the Batman games what they did.
Well, I feel like Warner Brothers turned it around with Batman.
How they handled even Shadow of Mordor, and like how much care they're taking time on the sequel because that surprisingly still isn't announced.
Maybe through this year, who knows?
Yeah, and I kind of have this hope that we've moved on from this time of shit licensed gaming, where you can actually when you see a licensed game, you know it's not automatically crap. Can it still be bad? Can this Avengers game come out and be fucking horrible?
Well, I mean, Activision put out that Ghostbusters game last year.
Okay.
Activision put out that Deadpool game that wasn't very good.
I like that Deadpool game.
Activision put out that Ninja Turtles game that was fucking shit tier trash.
You're naming the one common thing you have in this is it's all Activision. Yeah.
But then Activision put out that really good Wolverine game.
They did put out that really good
Wolverine
game.
That game was fucking awesome. That game was so fucking good.
Did you ever play that Wolverine game?
No,
we have to stream that. We have to hunt down a copy and I don't know if it's backwards compatible.
Oh, it's 360?
Yeah.
We've got one 360 in the house.
We should stream that next time. But man, that game is so fucking cool.
I don't subscribe to. I don't play many licensed games. I mean, the only game I play that has licenses all over it is either Rock Band or Skate, which has like license from all of those clothing companies and the Skate 4.
Oh,
we should have made that fucking topic of the week.
I feel like there's not enough to say about that.
Yeah, it's like, what is that even? It's a tweet.
I went back and listened to the Giant Bombcast where they went through the Instagram replies.
Oh,
to
man,
Skate 4.
that was glorious.
Oh my, it's one of the funniest things I've ever heard in my entire life.
Oh man, no, I think Marvel's doing the right thing with how they're handling the franchise. Obviously, we haven't seen Telltale. You know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Insomniac. I feel like you know what you're going to get. I feel like they have a good pedigree of games. So it's going to be interesting to see. These studios have made good games, so it's going to be interesting to see if they're giving the time and money to make these.
Avalanche was working on that Iron Man game that ended up getting canceled, but the concept for how he flies in the jetpack made it into Just Cause 3. Did you hear about that?
No.
Basically, the whole jetpack thing came from a canceled Iron Man project they were working on in Just Cause 3. So the way he flies and everything is very reminiscent to Iron Man, but...
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like this goes back a few years ago. There's that canceled first-person Avengers game. If you guys have seen the videos of that,
yeah.
It was weird. There's some weird stuff out there. Yeah. Otherwise, I feel like that's the end of the show this week. We have a short and sweet show this week.
Short and sweet.
Yeah. So just a reminder. I don't know why I said just a reminder. I don't know
Just
why.
Just reminding somebody.
I'm
just
just
remind us.
reminding you. Follow us on Twitter at DMasterCast. Email us podcastdemastered@gmail.com. Love to hear any feedback you have about the show. And sorry, dude, who liked Gravity Rush 2. And
Dude,
then
I
we came
also
back this
liked
week.
Gravity Rush 2. Keep enjoying that game. It has good parts, but
Yeah.
man, the bad parts are just so bad.
And
They're just so
otherwise, just real quick.
Joe, they're so bad.
I know they're bad.
Stealth missions in a flying game.
It's not a video podcast, but the podcast has been being uploaded up to YouTube. So if that's your preferred place, you can always subscribe to our channel there, and watch the shows, or just listen to them as you do shit around the house, like I do with many of the podcasts I listen to. Anyways, we'll be back next week with episode 96, 1 week closer to episode 100.
We're gonna do.
Dude, the Switch will be out for 3 days before episode 100.
God. We have to make that
buddy.
episode about us, though, not about the Switch.
Dude, the Switch is me. And I am one with the Switch.
This should have been ended a long time
All right,
ago.
guys. Goodbye.
I am one with the Switch and the Switch is me. I am one with the Switch and the Switch is me. I am one with the Switch and the Switch is me. I am one with the Switch and the Switch is me.